All right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And this is one of our monthly trailer roundup episodes. Every month at the beginning of the month, Jason Harris from Awesome Movie Year joins me so we can talk about a whole bunch of movies, doing the whole puzzle pieces format, but just one or two puzzle pieces each, just so we could kind of get a look at what is coming in the coming month. And today we are talking about a whole bunch of movies that are coming out in July of 2021. So that is coming up here in a second. Before we get to the conversation, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts, because as you'll hear, there's a lot of movies coming out, and I have a feeling that we're going to be covering a lot of them this month. We might do even more than... This is technically a once-a-week show. A lot of times I end up with 2 episodes a week. I could easily see there being a few 3-episode weeks this month because there's just a lot of movies coming out. I already have a few other episodes in the can as well, which I got to fit in somewhere. So, yeah, lots of episodes coming your way. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to podcasts. If you like what we do, you can rate and review us over on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. And you can follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join the Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. And last but not least, don't forget we do have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I combine content from this podcast, from Jason's podcast, Awesome Movie Year, which I produce, and from my music career. So lots of great content on there. I'm going to be posting some stuff from a film I recently scored very soon. And, of course, advanced episodes of Piecing It Together, bonus content all around from everything I'm involved with. So lots of great stuff over there. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. If you like what I do, maybe throw a little support that way. Or you can just share the show. That's always awesome when you do that too. Rate and review, 5 stars, all that stuff. Also get in touch. Let me know what you think of the show. I love hearing feedback. We've been getting a lot of great feedback lately, and I always love hearing from people. So let's get into the conversation. We're covering maybe, I don't have a list in front of me at the time of this recording, maybe the most movies we've ever done in a trailer roundup, but it is July, and we know that July is a huge month for movies, so that kind of makes sense. So let's get into it because we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about some trailers. All right, Jason Harris is back with us to talk about some movie trailers. Jason, how's it going?
Oh, baby, it's 700 degrees out here in Las Vegas, and that's 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it's awful. It is so terrible. I could just sit here and just complain for the rest of the podcast, honestly, if I wanted to. I hate it.
You know, that would be such a wild format for a podcast, just people just complaining.
People
That's crazy.
bitching.
Yeah.
This is
Has anyone done that
as
has anyone done that as a podcast before?
Well, we're going to look at some trailers for July, but as we do, we're going to first take a quick look back at the trailers that we covered in our June episode and just quickly talk about if we've seen those movies yet. Starting off, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm sure you didn't see this. You're not really a big horror guy, huh?
No, and no one seemed to really like it.
It's terrible. It's really bad. Even Gina, who is a big fan of this series, said it's the worst one and one of the worst movies she's ever seen. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. Moving on to Awake, which I did not think looked very good, and I never got around to watching it. Did you see it?
Nope. Don't even remember what it was. Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's the Netflix one where, I can sleep and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly.
Keep going.
Nope. Moving on. In the Heights, the movie that unfortunately disappointed at the box office, but was a lot of fun, I thought. Did you like it?
I did like it. It's a little too long. I think that form works better theatrically, but I liked it, and I am shocked that there's controversy over something like this. Come on.
Yeah, imagine that in this day and age. It's hard to believe. But yeah, hopefully more people discover it. It's a fun movie. Next up, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which came out the following week and also didn't do very good, but for some reason nobody talked about how it didn't do very good. Isn't that surprising?
How about nobody should just talk about it at all and we can move on with our lives?
This movie is still the if I'm really bored one day and I've seen everything else, I'll probably watch this one day. But I can't imagine that happening anytime soon. Moving on, Luca, which is our most recent, at the time of this recording, episode of Piecing It Together, the latest Pixar film. Did you like it, Jason?
I loved it. It was my favorite movie this past month, and probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite all year. What a pleasure to watch this thing.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I know you don't mind the whole streaming thing. I wish this was in the theater, though. I mean, it's a beautiful movie to look at. I think I would have liked it even more.
Yeah, it would be fun to see in the theater, but I just enjoyed it for what it was, how it was presented, and it's not as messagey as a lot of other Pixar movies, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah, much lighter and just a fun little movie. Next up was the Sparks Brothers, the documentary about Sparks, which is in theaters right now. I saw it. You have not seen it. I think you've been turned away by the length, huh?
I can't believe it. So 2 hours and 21 minutes. So that's now a 3-hour venture at least that I'm going to see this documentary. And I want to watch this movie, but why is it so long, Dave?
I don't know. I don't know. And I really enjoyed it, but you feel every minute of it. It is a very long movie, and I really don't think it needed to be. But their music is just so damn fun, and they're just such fun characters. I definitely think you should force yourself at some point.
I don't even need to force myself. It just doesn't feel like something I need to go to the theater to see. So
sure.
I will watch this in the comfort of my own home, in my undies.
Nice. All right, next up is Fatherhood, which just came out on, was it Netflix? I don't even remember anymore. I did not watch it.
I didn't watch it either, so.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get to it. The Ice Road, did you finish it? I know you started it.
Oh, the Ice Road. Why? We love you, Liam Neeson, and we love your movies, but you've already made 2 better versions of something in this setting. Don't do this to me, Liam Neeson. Come on. I'll make whatever I fucking want. Thank you, Liam Neeson. It's really bad. It's really horrible, Dave. Did you finish it?
I didn't even start it. No, I there's too much other stuff to watch. I don't think I'll get to it anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just funny because this was one I was really looking forward to.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that sucks. But they can't all be winners, I guess. He pumps out 2 of those grizzled old guy action movies a year. You can't get to them all.
It's just funny that he was always playing American working man, but talk like this. What part of America am I from? And it's truck driver, or, farmer done wrong or something like that. So.
Oh, he's a treasure. Next up, False Positive, another movie that just came out this weekend that also is getting kind of trashed like the Ice Road is, but I'm still planning on giving it a chance sometime in the next couple days.
Yeah, as you said, I got too much to do, Dave. I'm a busy guy, so you
are a busy guy.
Yeah, if it was getting great reviews, I'd check it out. But even friends of mine who have seen it are like, nah. Yeah. So yeah,
that seems to be the thing. But I'm gonna check it out. And then next weekend, still coming out at the time of this recording, is Zola. It is opening in theaters here in Vegas, so I am going to the theater to see that. I cannot wait.
Cool. I'm still interested in seeing it as well.
So let's move on to July. We have a lot of movies to cover. Obviously, it's the summer. There's always a lot of movies in July. Let's start off, though, with coming to HBO Max on July 1st, No Sudden Move. New Soderbergh, who I know you love. Big stacked cast, fun little catchy crime thriller. What do you think about this trailer?
I'm really excited, man. It looks like, Soderbergh in the Soderbergh wheelhouse. What he does best are these kind of grizzled yet humorous crime movies. Or you would say maybe that's what he does. He's so versatile, right?
He does so many different things, yeah.
Yeah, and this, like you said, the cast is another one of these amazing casts he's put together. This is good, and it's going right to HBO Max, so that's just how you're going to have to watch it. I'm ready. I'll probably watch it the first day it comes out, if not right after that. So.
Yeah, and he's hit or miss for me, but I mean, this definitely is a trailer that grabbed me right away. It's all the things I want to see in this kind of movie, especially like we've already mentioned this cast. I mean, Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, Julia Fox, Brendan Fraser, there's so many people in this. It just keeps going on and
Yeah,
on.
Kieran Culkin,
Karen
who
Culkin,
John
yeah,
Hamm. So,
yeah. It looks like a lot of fun. What do you have for some possible pieces for this one?
well, I mean, when you see Benicio and Don Cheadle together, you have to go back to another one of those Soderbergh movies, Traffic. So that's the first one, which is one of the best movies of the last 25 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I thought to get this type of cast and to do it just as a streamer, I was like, well, that's The Irishman right there.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
And lastly, I wanted to say, because they're like, are they criminals babysitting a woman while a crime takes place, or are they protecting a woman while a takes place? That Rachel Brosnahan movie that came out last year, and I hope I pronounced her name last name right. I'm Your Woman. That was my third one.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it definitely has a vibe like that, I would say for sure. And yeah, I mean, Traffic, definitely a good one. I would just say, Scorsese in general, Tarantino even, a lot of that like kind of like fast paced, quick, catchy dialogue, in the midst of a thriller with a big, huge cast. And then I'd also include one other piece, a movie we both just rewatched recently called Payback. It seems like we're dealing with a criminal done wrong who then has to go work his way up the investigation, corporation that did him wrong, the syndicate. Yeah, that's it. But in this case, we've got a whole team of porters instead of just one Mel Gibson. So
yeah, I didn't love the rewatch of it, but that's okay.
I think that we're both gonna need to. Maybe we'll do like I don't know, breaking it apart or something. I don't know, but we both need to rewatch the theatrical cut and see if it's as good as we remember. Because I do think the theatrical cut is a better cut than the director's.
Right, and we both watched the director's cut recently. That was why I was saying that. So there
absolutely.
You go. So.
Next up, Summer of Soul, coming out in theaters on July 2nd. It's directed by Questlove and is a documentary about the Harlem Cultural Festival in 1969 happening basically the same time as Woodstock. What did you think about this trailer?
Oh, I'm there. I'm all the way in on this. Such good music.
Yeah.
First image you see in the trailer is Nina Simone, and I'm like, count me in right now, But it's Nina Simone, it's Sly and the Family Stone, it's Stevie Wonder, it's Mavis Staples, Gladys Knight. I mean, what could you not get from this musically that you would want? It looks great, and like you said, it's about this festival that took place and was recorded but never put out there. And I'm sure the music, the performances are going to be great. So. What's a really good movie that maybe people haven't seen that's kind of a documentary about, I'm not going to call it a festival, but it's similar in that vein, was Dave Chappelle's Block Party. Sure. That's a really good one. So I put that there. And then there's all these documentaries about, forgotten bands being refound. And the one I chose for that was a band called Death. And the last thing was documentary from last year where they're talking about using art and culture and abilities that you might have that other people might not have, or differences. I shouldn't say art and culture, using your differences and your specificities to your advantage to change the world. And that was Crip Camp.
Sure, absolutely. As far as those shining a light on, bands that nobody really seems to remember, you can go with the Sparks Brothers, which just came out. But, obviously the Woodstock film itself could be a puzzle piece here. I would say the big resurgence right now of festivals. I mean, it seems like every month there's a festival happening. I think that it's so like in the public consciousness right now, music festivals. I think that is a big inspiration here. I also had Dave Chappelle's Block Party on my list as well. And aside from that, I was also kind of thinking about what Peter Jackson has been doing lately with just taking this old footage and kind of, rediscovering it, recutting it into something new and something fresh. And so just maybe his approach to documentary filmmaking.
Right. And that Beatles thing now has gotten so Peter Jackson-y that it went from a feature film to a 6-hour miniseries, which we're not complaining about. I think that'll be very good.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun for sure. So, coming up next on Amazon Prime on July 2nd is The Tomorrow War, directed by Chris McKay, starring Chris Pratt, J.K. Simmons, Betty Gilpin. It's set in the future where there's a war going on, and they have to send soldiers back in time because they need more soldiers. So it's like a time draft of sorts. What do you think about this trailer?
Hey,
Oh
that's
yeah,
really goosh, geesh.
I had the
Uh,
same thought on this one.
Hey, Dave, I really want to mention really fast. The reason we both watched Payback quickly was because we covered Point Blank, which also could have been a piece in that trailer from No Sudden Move, which is going to be in our 1967 season of Awesome Movie Year. Check it out. As for Tomorrow War, I don't know, man. What is Chris Pratt doing? Has he kind of, topped out or bottomed out? I'm not sure here. My pieces here are obviously the Terminator when you think of wars and warriors from different time periods having to fight in the present. And then I put Tenet because it looks like it's going to confuse me as much as that did.
Right. Yeah. Those are both great pieces. I'll also add in there Edge of Tomorrow, Doug Liman's really great Tom Cruise starring sci-fi actioner where it's all a big time loop. This is a little different because it's time travel, not time loop, but similar kind of vibe to it. And yeah, doesn't look very good. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Next up, in theaters, July 9th, finally, I guess, for people who love these Marvel movies, it's Black Widow. It's directed by Kate Shortland, starring, of course, Scarlett Johansson, also Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz, and David Harbour. What'd you think? Are you excited?
Well, first of all, it looks like David Harbour is about to be our star of the summer, right? Because he's got
Seems like
this.
it.
He's in another movie. We got Stranger Things coming out.
He's in the
great, David.
Soderbergh movie, right?
Yeah, there we go. So I
Yep.
mean, Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, that's great already. I gotta say, like, as much Marvel fatigue as I have, like, I'm kind of excited. The preview looks really good. One, early feedback has been really good, like as far as reviews go, and it'll be nice to see a big popcorn Marvel movie in the theaters again. So I'm gonna go the opposite way of what you might think and go, yeah, let's do this thing, Dave. I'm in on
Nice.
this one. So
That's good.
yeah. I mean, I always think Black Widow because of her origin, where, she's trained as a covert operative for another country, originally against the Avengers. Does that sound right to you, Dave? Was that a fair explanation?
Something like that. Yeah, it seems about right.
Yeah, so I always think of The Americans, the amazing television show that everyone should watch with, those guys, Carrie Russell and that other guy. So who's very good, whose name
he is very good, and I don't remember his name either.
Yeah. There's a scene in this where she's just kind of floating through the sky, like she jumps out of an airplane or something, and that was mesmerizing. And that brought me to Mission Impossible Fallout, which is maybe my second favorite action movie of all time. And then the last one I thought of was, remember that movie Salt with Angelina Jolie, where she was like, trained to be a bad guy and then had to kill all the people who trained her to be a bad guy. Those were the three that I got on this one.
That absolutely works. I would also add in there Red Sparrow, the Jennifer Lawrence Russian hit woman, spy thriller thing that didn't do very well. Of course, digging back into Scarlett Johansson's, previous films, you got Ghost in the Shell and Lucy, both of which hit or miss, but she's proven that she can do this action stuff, before the MCU started. And then also, this does seem to be like a prequel to the events of the whole Marvel Infinity Saga. And so I just thought of how the Wet Hot American Summer sequel series, they were all playing younger versions of itself. So I just thought of that too.
All right, I'll let that one slide. Matthew Reese is his name on the Americans.
I knew it was a Matt name. Yeah, I just couldn't remember the last name. All right, let's move on. Netflix, July 14th, Gunpowder Milkshake, starring Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh, Paul Giamatti. It's just one of these insane over-the-top action movies with a bunch of people kicking ass in slow motion, and looks pretty damn fun. What'd you think of this?
Meh. It looked
Yeah,
meh to me. So
that's
um,
surprising.
it felt. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you need to watch the movie after you've seen the preview, or did you get the whole movie there?
Th-
Right.
that's a good point. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that. So, but they're like in a library or a bookshop and they're opening books and there are guns in there. You need to read an Emily Dickinson, blah, 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 right? And it's like,
Hmm.
whatever. So that kind of felt like the Kingsman to me, which I do like the Kingsman a lot, where it's,
Sure.
we're in a suit shop and we're outfitting you with all these guns. And then, of course, when you think of badass female empowerment ass kickers, you got to go to Kill Bill. So that's where I'm at
Hmm.
on this one. And also, some
Absolutely.
of the sequences look like lighting schemes might have been influenced by Kill Bill, like the Crazy '88 stuff and everything.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I had both of those on my list as well. Kingsman, Kill Bill. The whole revenge is a dish best served cold. That's Kill Bill all the way. Also, the outfit that the main girl is wearing reminded me of Ryan Gosling in Drive. So I'd throw that in there as well. Plus
Yeah,
all the
it's funny
neon.
because you said that. I was thinking Baby Driver in there, which is,
Sure.
kind of similar to that as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with what you said there about do you really need to see the whole thing? But I think I'll be watching that one
I
though
mean,
when
I'm
it
going to give
comes
it a
out.
chance for sure, but it's like, I don't know. It just, sometimes it's like, it feels efforted to make something cool. And that's where I'm like, man, you're really working really hard to make this thing cool.
Sure. Yeah. Well, a movie that doesn't need to use too much effort because it's got Nicolas Cage in it, and so it could just do whatever the hell it wants, basically. Pig is coming out July 16th. Nicolas Cage, this guy in the woods who used to be a famous chef, I guess, and he has a pet pig, and it goes missing, and he tries to find it. What do you think about this trailer?
Oh, count me in 100% on this one. Like,
Yes.
and it looks like Nicolas Cage is acting and not just being crazy man here,
Yes.
right? But
Absolutely.
I actually tried to watch I think there's really only one trailer out, and I tried to watch different versions of trailers because I'm like, this is so strange. And what I appreciate about this trailer, as opposed to the last one we just talked about, is like it barely gives away anything.
Total mystery. Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I'm so excited for this. Obviously, Chef is the first movie that comes to mind where you think of someone kind of, or the last big movie of an artist as a chef and who's very takes his work very personally.
Hmm.
Um, I like Jiro Dreams of Sushi here, which is a must see documentary about the same type of subject. And I
Hmm.
also thought Black Swan because of the obsession with the craft and the art. And if I was going to name a chef that this reminded me of, because as you know, I'm a food writer, I'd say
Hmm.
look up Marco Pierre White, who was one of the first, I think, 3-star Michelin chefs in Britain, and then just kind of like burned out and went to the countryside. Now he's like more of like a hotelier, but he's an interesting character for sure.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, I like that you focused in on the food angle of this for sure, which is going to be an interesting aspect of this film. I thought that this movie we talk a lot. It seems like every month when we do these trailer episodes, there's at least like two movies that we could use John Wick as a puzzle piece for.
Oh, it seems like you do that every month. Let's
Well,
be honest
we
here.
I say we could do that, both of us. This is like the anti John Wick. It looks like it is taking a similar concept of the pet going missing, but not going for full on just, hitman over the top violence. And so
Yeah,
we'll see
that's
how that
fair.
plays out since, like you said, we really don't know where this is going to go. But that's kind of what I see. And then I also thought of Leave No Trace as a guy like living off the grid and can go back to the regular world at any time. It's not like he's hiding out or anything like that, but really kind of just chooses to live this lifestyle out in the woods.
I think this might be one we're both there for on like opening day, if not opening weekend.
Absolutely. Next up, Die in a Gunfight, coming to theaters July 16th from director Colin Shifley, stars Diego Boneta, Alexandra Daddario and Travis Fimmel. I don't know any of these names I just listed.
Alexandra Daddario was from True Detective season 1, and she's been in
Okay.
a lot of movies. I think she was maybe the Baywatch movie or something, but she's been in a lot of stuff after that. So
Okay. Yeah, I'd definitely seen her name before, but yeah, this looks like another fun, kind of over the top action movie. What do you think about this?
I actually had the opposite reaction to this that I did in the other gunpowder
The milkshake one.
milkshake one. Where at first I was like, "What?" And then as I watched more of this trailer, I was like, "Yeah, I'm invested in this.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's these two families, the Hatfields and McCoy style, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they have these ongoing quarrels forever, and then two of the young kids get together and fall in love. And I don't know. I think there's this thing called Romeo and Juliet that no one probably knows. It's a very obscure thing that
Yeah.
probably has never been used as an influence on anything else. So this is very original, but it does feel a little Baz Luhrmann-y, this movie. So you
Sure.
could even go more specific as Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. And then the other one, which is a great movie, and I think you really like, is Blue Ruin. Our friend
Sure.
Jeremy Saulnier, who we've never met, but we did cover on Awesome Movie Year once for Murder Party. But Blue Ruin's his first maybe breakout movie, and that's about
Yeah.
two families, who have ongoing wars with each other from a long ago affair, and it's great, and everyone should watch that.
That's a great piece. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect fit there. And such a great movie. The of course Romeo and Juliet, so obvious, but on my list as well. And then the other one I had was Martin McDonagh's Seven Psychopaths. Just this kind of nonstop, fast paced. Each new character you're introduced to is just more ridiculous and over the top and violent and funny than the next. And yeah, I agree. This is of these kinds of movies, this is the more interesting one this month, and so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I am too, as opposed to Martin McDonough movies, which I'm usually not. But I will rewatch In Bruges one day, and if I like that, I'll go back and watch Seven Psychopaths again. But usually not a fan. In case you're wondering something about me,
I wonder lots of things about you, Jason.
yeah, ask away, Dave.
How excited are you for a new Space Jam movie?
Look at you, Segway King, man. You're crushing it. The answer out of 1 to 100 is -37.
Lucky for you, I already have someone signed up to guest on the episode, so you won't have to watch this or anything if you
All
don't
right,
want
but
to.
I want Pig.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy coming to theaters July 16th, directed by Malcolm D. Lee, produced by Ryan Coogler, starring LeBron James in place of Michael Jordan. Don Cheadle's also in there, and of course, all of the Looney Tunes, and looks so bad. Is there anything do you have anything positive to say about this trailer?
Do I have anything? The animation looks okay, right? That's a thing.
Yeah,
So
there you go. That's something.
yeah, yeah, there we
I,
go.
I would say it made way for some great memes. Those ones where they inserted extra, more ridiculous even than a Clockwork Orange characters in the background of the scenes. But yeah, this movie
So
looks insane.
I'm on IMDb looking it up right now, and
Uh huh.
I think it's got 6 screenwriters and 4 story credits on there. Like
Oh boy.
it's gonna be horrible. So, but I'll probably watch it because, as you know, we did cover first Space Jam on Awesome Movie Year
Mm-hmm.
1996. Which I think was an audience choice. They really wanted us to do that. And then also, my daughter likes Space Jam, so I got to do it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be garbage in a
Well,
garbage factory. It
what
looks
do you
really
got for
bad.
pieces for it?
All right, I got Space Jam. No, I don't. Okay, I got for Space Jam. Oh, Tron, because they get stuck in cyber world for a minute, and then they go
Sure.
to a Looney Tunes world, because that makes sense. And then Wreck It Ralph, because that's an actual very good version of like people getting stuck in video games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The old grandma. I'm gonna go way back now. The old grandma who's like, by the way, what a unique thing. A trash talking, bebopping grandma, old white lady, right? So
Breaking new
Um,
grounds.
yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire style, which was good. Do you remember the Grandma Ma commercials with Larry Johnson when he actually played that character?
Sure, sure.
That was kind of fun. I wanted to just bring that up. And then the last thing is like they're bringing in Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera and the Iron Giant, and that reminds me of that really fun cartoon in the 80s, Laugh Olympics, where they were always having like Yogi Bear versus Magilla Gorilla versus Dick Dastardly versus El Kabong, and that was super fun. So those are all memories I'd rather relive than watch this thing.
Sure, absolutely. I'll throw in there Ready Player One because that already did the whole thing of bringing all these IP and characters into a big jam-packed special effects spectacle, and isn't great, but I'm sure is better than what this will be. The other one I'll throw in there is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I felt like Don Cheadle seemed like he was channeling a little bit of George Carlin's Rufus in his character here in this movie.
I would actually say Bogus Journey makes more sense with the kind of odd places they're traveling,
I
as
guess you
opposed
could
to just
use
straight
both.
back in time.
Yeah, you could definitely use a little of both for sure. So, yeah, I don't even know if I would call it looking forward to, but I'll certainly be seeing that movie at some point. Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, July 23rd in theaters, starring Henry Golding, a spin-off Origins movie, which I didn't even know this was a series that was still active to have spin-offs of. I'm a little lost on this one, Jason. Are you a fan of these movies?
I kind of like that. I didn't see any of them. I obviously played with the toys and watched the cartoons growing up, but I didn't watch any of the movies. But when I was watching this preview for like the first 2 minutes and 15 seconds, I'm like, what does this have to do with G.I. Joe? Right.
Right, me too.
And I kind of like that. Like, it's like they're rebooting the whole thing at a very, very distant level from what we know G.I. Joe to be. So
Yeah.
it kind of sold me. I'm like, all right, maybe this could be a thing. Some of these action sequences look cool, and yeah, I'm kind of interested. I mean, when we think of like a reboot where people have to travel to foreign lands to learn these fighting skills, immediately I think of the new Mortal Kombat from this year.
Sure.
And then X-Men First Class, because that's my favorite of those origin story superhero movies. So I went there.
Okay. Those are interesting puzzle pieces for sure. I don't know what to make of the story here, so that's a little hard to like kind of pick up on. I guess we'll see. I definitely am looking forward to this. I think the action scenes look incredible, honestly, and I like Henry Golding. I think he's a good star. As far as pieces, I already brought up John Wick today, but I'm going to bring it up again. But specifically, John Wick Chapter 3, which, as you know, is my favorite of the series. The John Wick movies are obviously inspired by Asian cinema, but you've got the kind of like beautiful neon tinge cinematography and just crazy over the top stunt work. I think that third one really is the tops for that kind of thing. The other thing I thought of are the most recent entries in the Fast and Furious series, where in theory, this is the real world these characters are all in, yet they're basically acting like superheroes in their abilities and what they can do, and just how insane it all is. And that's what I connect with. That's why I think it looks great.
Okay, but the new rule for the next 2 months is you're not allowed to bring up John Wick on this show.
Hey, that's Hollywood's fault. If they want to make another
No,
John
that's
Wick
your
movie.
fault. I mean, that's fair. You can blame Hollywood, but go a little deeper next time.
Go a little deeper next time. Okay, I'll try, guys. All right. Next up, delayed since last year. It's Jungle Cruise coming to theaters July 30th. The Rock and Emily Blunt and Disney trying to bring the Disney ride to life in a big, huge, fun family adventure. What'd you think of this?
Delayed because of the pandemic, not because of
Right.
filming problems. It actually looks fun, and I'm like, what? Like, again, this doesn't seem like something I want to see, but I'm gonna go see it, and I'm gonna bring my daughter, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
What's going on with me? I'm really nice today, Dave. I don't like it.
Maybe you're just excited about going back to the movies. I
I
don't know.
do like movies. Obviously, my first puzzle piece is John Wick. That's a
Yes, of
joke.
course.
No, I mean, look, it's this is what Disney does. Ooh, that's a ride. Let's do something with that. And this almost looks like blueprinted from Pirates of the Caribbean, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, we go there, and then these kind of adventurers and explorers looking for some type of mythical, in this case, plant that's going to change medicine, and that's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom. Anything without the fuck ass monkeys from Crystal Skulls. So
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, and I don't know, when's the last time you watched a Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
probably the second Pirates of the Caribbean
Okay.
in the theater.
I recently I go to EOS Fitness as my gym now, and they have a cinema room where you can watch movies while on various cardio equipment. And I saw two of these movies at the gym just recently. It was my first time since the theater too, and they really are a lot of fun, especially those first two.
Now, when you're in this theater, when you're in the cinema room, are you there the whole time? Because that's a 2.5 hour movie. Did you
Right.
watch the whole movie?
I did not watch the whole thing. No, I watched about an hour of each one, but that hour, I mean, and I could see how 2.5 hours is way too long for any of these movies to be, and hopefully Jungle Cruise isn't 2.5 hours, but they are a lot of fun though while they're happening, and I guess it is a good blueprint to try to follow for them to try to make another fun, action adventure movie like this.
I mean, and it's nice to see The Rock do something that's already imprinted IP or franchise thing, because he's always taking risks making all these original films, and he never gets involved with franchises. So it's nice to
Right.
really see him go in a totally opposite direction than what we've seen the last 15 years of his career be.
100% right, sort of. So yeah, no, this looks fun. And then to bring up Brendan Fraser again, who's in No Sudden
No
Moves.
Sudden Move. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mummy, his Mummy movies. It reminds me
Right.
a lot of those. So
Yeah.
Brendan
So you have the
Fraser's
Mummy
having a
Pirates?
year. Yeah,
Yeah, we love Brendan Fraser. Well,
I know.
That's exciting.
Great to see him back, and he's going to be in the new Aronofsky movie, which I think is in December, unless it's next year. I think it's in December. But yeah, very excited for this though. Even though, like you said, it's not normally the kind of thing I'd be sitting here claiming to be excited about.
Yeah, I'm not very excited, but
I'm very excited. I can't
All right.
wait. So, next up is Stillwater, coming out in theaters July 30th. Tom McCarthy's first dramatic film since winning the Oscar for Spotlight, if we don't count Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made.
Which has been discussed on Awesome Movie here, because we did Tom McCarthy episode on The Station Agent, which is great. Go see that movie 2003 and listen to our episode.
That's right. Stars Matt Damon and Abigail Breslin. He is a blue-collar oil rig worker who travels to Europe after his daughter is jailed for a murder she says she didn't commit, and he's trying to find a way to get her out. What do you think about this one?
Not really sold on it, but I'm going to watch it, and I hope it's better than the preview.
I agree. It's not a great preview, but I like everyone involved, and I'm kind of rooting for it, even though it's not really a great preview.
Yeah. It reminds me of like Taken without any of the action.
Yes.
Right? I'm
Very
gonna go get my daughter without doing that. And then, do you remember, man, talking about the 80s, I always remember the Sally Field, it's a movie I never seen, but the commercial for Not Without My Daughter, where she's like, an American woman in Iran, and like she needs to get back to America, but not without my daughter. And I'm sure if we
Yes.
watched it today, it would be so racist.
Most likely. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I don't remember if I've ever actually seen it, but of course I'm aware of it. It's like one of those classic titles for sure. Yeah, I of course had Taken on mine as well. The other thing I thought of, a movie that I don't remember if I actually saw it or not, from 1999, Broke Down Palace with Claire Danes and Kate Beckinsale. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but I do remember it.
I in looking up to see if my memory, was good, and it really was about, Americans that get jailed in a foreign country and someone trying to get them out. I found out that the guy who's trying to get them out is named Yankee Hank. And I think that fits for the Matt Damon character here. I don't know what his name is, but it seems like it could be Yankee Hank.
Yeah, if it was Yankee Hank, I'd be less interested in watching it.
All right, let's move on to the last movie of the month. This is a big month. So many damn movies.
Yeah, exciting.
I know, it's great. The Green Knight, July 30th. This was one of my most anticipated movies of last year, and of course, the pandemic delayed it. It's A24. It's a fantasy adventure, which they're not really known for putting out movies like this very often. Directed by David Lowery. There's a talking fox in it. It looks insane in the visual department. I am very excited for this.
Who's
King
David
Arthur
Lowery?
thing.
What's he done?
He did A Ghost Story. And he did Pete's Dragon, which I've actually not seen, and he did Ain't Them Body Saints.
Wow.
Yeah.
This could be a thing here, huh?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
He's good.
Well, anything King Arthur-y, you can choose your project of a King Arthur thing, mythic-y, questy, stuff like that. And I know you're going to mention a movie that we talked about already. So I'm going to say Game of Thrones. It's got that whole feel of Game of Thrones, and it's the preview's wild because he beheads this like Groot looking type character, and then the Groot character just holds his head and he's like, 1 year from now we will settle this, and then it's like 1 year later and he's got to go on the quest. So that's where I kind of got that Game of Thrones thing. But hey, you want to watch Talking Fox, you can also watch Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good piece right there. I like it. Also, by the way, I didn't mention Dev Patel as the main star, and he's great. I always love Dev Patel, so it'll be an interesting role for him. I think the thing you're hinting at is Lord of the Rings, which of course we covered on both Piecing It Together and Awesome Movie Year. Definitely, I think an influence here. Also, I would go with the films in general of Guillermo del Toro, especially Pan's Labyrinth with the creature design, and especially that guy who you just gave us a really great impression of.
Yeah, one of my best for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe a little never-ending story in there as well, which of course we mentioned on the Lord of the Rings episode. So.
And on the Lord of the Rings front, doesn't that character also, that Groot character, look like one of those talking big trees from Lord of the Rings 2 from the Two Towers? So
absolutely, yep. Yeah, I'm psyched for this movie. I cannot wait. But yeah, that is our July, and of course there's lots else coming out. I mean, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old, we didn't include. Of course, one you brought to my attention this morning, Ass Clowns, Constipated, we didn't dig into.
How can we miss that? Oh yeah, there's not even a preview of it.
So. And that Anthony Bourdain documentary, which I hear is very good. So.
Oh, can't wait for that. That's going to be a heartbreaker for me. But
yeah, lots of good stuff coming. But
hey Dave, when you go see The Green Knight, will you dress up as the beheaded tree man?
I will try. I will definitely try. That'll be some good content for the socials.
I would like one ticket for The Green Knight to see now, not a year from now.
So Jason, since the last time you've been on the show, you started something new, didn't you?
I did, Dave. We have a new podcast out there. It is a food podcast. As we mentioned here, I am a food writer, have been for probably over a decade now. Had a few food TV shows on the air at one point in time, and by a few, I mean one. But it's me and another food journalist in town, the great Al Mancini. It's called Food and Loathing, and we deep dive into the Vegas food scene every week. So I think it's a cool podcast. I hope you guys give it a listen, find it wherever you got your podcasts, and give us some feedback. If you like it, great. If not, tell us what we can do better. Of course, Dave, my other podcast, which you are a part of, Awesome Movie Year, currently on the 1967 season. And that's season 8. We're going to do another year for season 9. And then we have something a little crazy planned for season 10. That's me and film critic Josh Bell. We're at Awesome Movie Year on all the socials, and obviously Awesome Movie Year. Just look it up wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason Harris Comedy, Facebook, Instagram, J Harris Comedy on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, Jason, as always, thanks for being here. And maybe we'll do that Soderbergh movie and maybe Pig. And either way, I always love having you on the show.
Yeah, Dave, it's fun. All right, yeah, I'll take those 2 movies. That'll be fun.
Tired of the same old sports podcast where two bros just bro out about football and hard seltzer? Yeah, me too. That's why I got my two bros together and started LA Podfidential, where we talk about the Rams, Chargers, and at gunpoint the Dallas Cowboys. But we don't bro out, and there's not a single can of hard seltzer in sight. Just three best friends having a nice casual conversation like you would over beer. Sure, we go into the NFL, but we also talk about memories we had with each other, embarrassing stories, family revelations, and whatnot. Okay, maybe you don't like football. We also talk about the Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers, Bruins, Trojans, and whatever LA sports news might be going on at the moment. Oh, you don't like sports? That's okay. We apply our same casual but analytical attitude towards Marvel, DC, movie trailers, movie casting, award season, and we even do top 5 rankings and recommend good stuff to watch every week. We're LA Podfidential, the chillest podcast about LA sports, part of the LAFB Football Network. Listen now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. That's LA Podfidential, part of the LAFB Football Network.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about some of the movies coming out in July of 2021. Thanks, as always, to Jason Harris for joining me for that one. As always, I got to remind you guys, make sure you are subscribed. There's a lot of podcasts coming your way in the month of July, and there's a lot of podcasts that's been posted recently. We've done episodes on so many movies and so much great stuff. We also have a special episode coming up soon, probably be next week, with Jason's Awesome Movie Here co-host Josh Bell. He will be joining me to talk about our top 10 lists at the mid-year point of 2021, and that's going to be an interesting one because it has been kind of a strange year, but we'll get into that when me and Josh get together to talk. But anyway, yeah, make sure you're subscribed. You can also follow us on social media at PiecingPod, join our Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, and of course, don't forget about that Produced by David Rosen Patreon. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. If you really want to support what I'm doing with all these podcasts and my music and everything else, maybe go subscribe over on the Patreon. Otherwise, just the fact that you're listening is awesome. You could always rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser with 5 stars. That's awesome. And you can share the show with your friends. The more you share it, the more people are going to listen, and that makes me very happy. So let's close this thing out with a piece of music like I always do. And it's the summertime, so I'm going to play something upbeat, huh? What should I play? I'm going to go with a track from my album, A Different Kind of Dream. This is a song called Invisible. It's one of the most upbeat tracks from any of my albums. Just very upbeat and dancey. And if you're out there this summer, hopefully vaccinated. If not, continue to wear a mask. But if you are vaccinated, do what you want. Thank you for getting vaccinated. But if you're out there partying and stuff, I figured I'd play something upbeat. So here it is. This is Invisible from my album, A Different Kind of Dream. We'll be back when we're piecing it together, coming up real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.